Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, we were RVing full time. We were gonna wander around, but then we went to Baja over this past winter, fell in love with it, and a few months later, here we are as temporary residents. So if you didn't see that one coming, neither did we. So excuse our sweaty mess.
We have the AC off, so you won't have the noise, and it's humid. Oh yeah, Baja heat. So if you're not sure about that, look into it before you come, all right?
In the summer.
During these months.
Yeah, summer. Yeah. This video is gonna be talking about what you need, what to expect when you do the immigration office for your second part of getting your temporary residency.
And if you didn't get a chance to see the first video, we will put it either here or here, whichever, we'll figure it out, and you'll get to see what is entailed in part one.
So number one, you're going to need your original passport for this appointment. You're also gonna need copies of the front page of your passport and the page with your visa stamp on there.
That's the visa that you were issued at the consulate. But before we get into that, just remember, the first step is once you're entering Mexico, whether you're flying in or driving in, you need to make sure that your FMM is stamped correctly. It needs to say Canje, C-A-N-J-E, not Turisto. And you'll know because they'll most likely put 30 days on there, vice 180, because that's the amount of time you have in which to at least initiate the process.
So make sure you pull out your visa when you're doing going through the gate. Immigration, excuse me.
And depending on if you're driving or not, sometimes they'll let you pass. I mean, you have to ask. If you don't get that red light to stop, and if the light's green, then technically you can just drive through. If you do that, you're going to have a problem once you get to the point where you're trying to do your residency, because they're going to say, okay, you don't have the proper documentation.
And they don't, they don't care. It's not their responsibility. Yeah. So even off subject, coming through, just doing like the 6 months when we came in the winter, or the winter, they didn't stop us and ask for it. We pulled off and then went in to check. Thank goodness we did, because then we're without it.
So to help us in the process, we printed out everything ahead of time. We went to the immigration website and we printed out the online application for each of us. And we put in all the information that's required in there, and we took that to the appointment. So we used the office in La Paz. La Paz does not require an appointment. Some immigration offices require an appointment. The best thing we would advise is to join Facebook groups that are around expats living in Mexico and ask that question.
We're gonna go ahead and put a link in the description below where you can find the form. Depending on where you go, you might need photos, so it's best to just have photos available when you get there so that doesn't delay your process. So what is the cost? So the cost per person is gonna be 4,739 pesos per person. And with the form that you get from the website, and you wanna make sure it's good to print out the form and take it in before you go and pay, just to make sure that it's the right location. We didn't know at the time, but when we didn't pay yet, so then they had to stop our process, we had to go pay, but we needed the right form. We printed out the wrong one. We didn't realize there was 2 offices in La Paz, so that's something else that you need to look into just to verify. But if you do see 2 and you're able to print both forms, that way you have it. So then your only delay is running to the bank with those forms, paying the fees, coming back with your receipts to finish the process. Our issue, we printed the wrong form. We didn't pay yet, which we didn't know. So the lady said, no, this is the wrong form. You need to go do that, then go pay, then come back. That took us and then our Spanish is not good. So us going Tamar was a trooper, went into what, like 3 different, like a Home Depot, Office Depot, I don't remember, like something else. It was a long process, like doing that. And then we show up back at the immigration office, not paid yet because we couldn't figure out, right?
Yeah, which one?
Which one. So then that delayed us even more. And then they're like, you know what, just go. Did they end up printing it for us?
They did.
They ended up printing it for us because
they felt sorry for us.
It was a long day. So what could have been 2-hour appointment ended up being 4 hours.
And that delay came, I'm not lying, it came like 2 seconds after I uttered these words. This is easier than I thought.
I mean, I don't even know if he got that last part of the sentence out before she said, whoa, wait a minute, there's a problem. So I'm like, he does this every time. And so now when he says something, he's about to say something and I know it's coming, I'm like, do not. Do not. So he's the king of jinxing. So if something's going good, we need to just bite our tongues, just, you know, smile and keep moving.
Yeah. So as for banks, you're depending on how you do it. So if you're just doing this as an individual, it'd be a whole lot easier because you don't have to pull out a lot of pesos to do this. But if you're doing this as a family, depending on how many people are in the family, it's going to require you to pull out a lot of pesos, right? We didn't have any pesos on us, so we had to go to the bank. Well, we had to use multiple cards because, as you can figure, between the amount that's required and, you know, depending on what your bank allows you to pull out, we just weren't able to use one card to get all of it. And then we're having an issue pulling out. So the immigration officer, he recommended
BBV. So he said that because if you do print out the wrong form or if it's the wrong amount on the form that you have, you can go back to them and they most likely will reimburse you. The other banks, they most likely will not. So next part is, how long does it take? So after that first appointment, or the first time we showed up, we're there, they said, okay, come back in about a week, or, you know, wait until you get an email with your forms, like your completed forms for the 3 of us. And we were waiting, and then we went in because we got only like 1 email. So we're like, okay, maybe it's for the whole family. But it ended up not being, but they did it right there when we did go back in. They're very helpful. So then that appointment was our fingerprints for all 3 of us, pictures for all 3 of us. And so it was a pretty quick appointment the second time. And then they said, okay, come back in about, I think they said about 10 business days, but she told us to come back. It was a lot less than that, like a week from then, when we were there, and we were able to just walk in. We'd always do first thing in the morning. It seemed to be the least amount of people. Picked up our cards, signed a couple forms, and we were out the door.
Okay. Some takeaways for us. There are people that can help with this, and you can find them to help you. And I don't know how much they charge, but it does make the process easier. When we were sitting there, every time that we went, there were people there who were going through the same exact process as we are. And I didn't even notice it until Kelly pointed it out that, you know.
It was like everybody except for us.
Yeah. And we did it on our own. So it's not impossible to do on your own. Does it mean that you have to ask a couple questions? Sure, but you can do it on your own. But there is also people out there that will help you. We have nothing but time, right? So I don't care if it takes us 20 times to go to the office to get it done. For us, it's just an experience, so we have the time to do it. We have nothing else to do, honestly.
I mean, yeah, and that's why we came to La Paz planning on, we did a month lease for our place that we're staying at for that reason, because we didn't know how many times you have to go back and forth, what the process was once you're here. So, I mean, we do recommend that too. Get a place, if you're just coming down, get a place near the immigration office that you're going to for, I would say 2 weeks probably.
At least, yeah.
Because we've met a few people in the immigration office that they're coming like an hour or 2 hours away, and then they're doing multiple trips. It's not just the 3 for us. It's more because they don't have the proper documentation.
For us doing it by ourselves, I think it was a pretty straightforward. And even with the stuff that we messed up on, they were simple enough that we could correct them within that day, within a matter of hours actually. Go back, and continue on with the process.
And then opening a bank account, that will be another day.
That is, so once you get your temporary residency card, you know, that gives you the ability to do other things from, like Kelly just said, opening a bank account, getting a driver's license. Go ahead.
Well, and two, you have to file now for a tax ID number.
And that's gonna be another video
Yeah.
too, because it's like, it's a domino effect. RFC, that's something that you also have to do. It's kind of like a social security number. So as soon as you hit one wicket,
You're like, yes.
yeah,
And then you get like 3 more things that have to be done.
yeah.
You know, I mean, the bank one you don't need, but it makes sense to have it for us with the property. And if we're gonna be living here for a while, it makes sense.
So the camera died just now. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you found it informative.
And we hope to see you back next time.
Hasta luego.
Hasta luego.
Don't forget to like and subscribe and comment down below.